श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we're reading Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 14. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki jai. Sitaram Lakshman Gaur Nitai ki jai. Traiprishta Puru Bhayaha Sanarsingha Rupam. Puru Bhaya Kritva Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karala Vaktram. Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karala Vaktram. Daitendriyama Sugadaya Vipatanta Marad. Sugadaya Vipatanta Marad. Urau Nipatya Vidadara Nakai Spurantam. Nipatya Vidadara Nikai Spurantam. Traiprishta Puru Bhayaha Sanashingarupam. Prishta Puru Bhayaha Sanashimarupam. Kritva Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karala Vatram. Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karala Vatram. Daitendriyama Sugadaya Vipatanta Marad. Daitendriyama Sugadaya Vipatanta Marad. Urau Nipatya Vidadara Nakai Spurantam. Nipatya Vidadara Nikaya Sputram. Traiprishta Puru Bhayaha Sanashimarupam. Prishta Puru Bhayaha Sanashimarupam. Kritva Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karalavaktram. Tva Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karalavaktram. Daitendriyamasu Gadaya Bipatantadra. Dramasu Gadaya Bipatantamarat. Urau Nipatya Vidadara Nakai Spurantam. Nipatya Vidadara Nikai Spurantam. Hare Krishna. Trai Prishta Purubhaya Sanyashima Rupam. Tva Brahmat Prakuti Tamashtra Karalavaktram. Dayendra Masugadaya Vipatantamarat. Urau Nipatya Vidadara Nakai Spurantam. Tai Pishta Poru Bhayahasan Chingarupam. Kritva Brahmad Prakuti Damstrakaralavaktram. Daitendriyamasu Gadaya Vipatantamarat. Urau Nipatya Vidadara Nakai Spurantam. Mataji. Traipishta Purubhaya Sanarshingarupam. Tva Brahmat Prakuti Damstra Karalavaktram. Daitendra Masu Gadaya Vipatantamarat. Oro Nipatya Vidadara Nikai Spurantam. Anyone else? Okay, word for word. Tai Pishtapar, the demigods. Urupayaha, one who vanquishes great fears. Saha, he, the personality of Godhead. Narshima Rupam, assuming the incarnation of Narsimha. Kritva, doing so. Brahmat, by rolling. Brukuti, eyebrows. Damshtra, teeth. Karala, greatly fearful. Vaktram, mouth. Daitya Indram, the king of the demons. Asu, immediately. Gadaya, with the club in hand. Abhipantam, while falling down. Arat, nearby. Urau, on the thighs. Nipatya, placing on. Vidadara, pierced. Nakaya, by the nails. Spurantam, while challenging. Okay, translation and purport by His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Narsimha in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand. By placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth. Purport. The history of Hiranyakashipu and his great devotee son Prahlad Maharaj is narrated in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hiranyakashipu became very powerful by material achievements and thought himself to be immortal by the grace of Brahmaji. Brahmaji declined to award him the benediction of immortality because he himself was not an immortal being. But Hiranyakashipu derived Brahmaji's benediction in a roundabout way, almost equal to becoming an immortal being. Hiranyakashipu was sure that he would not be killed by any man or demigod, or by any kind of known weapon, nor would he die in day or night. The Lord, however, assumed the incarnation of half man, half lion, which was beyond the imagination of materialistic demon like Hiranyakashipu, and thus, keeping pace with the benediction of Brahmaji, the Lord killed him. He killed him on his lap so that he was killed neither on land, nor on water, nor in sky. The demon was pierced by Narsimha's nails, which were beyond the human weapons imaginable by Hiranyakashipu. The literal meaning of Hiranyakashipu is one who is after gold and soft bedding. The ultimate aim of all materialistic men, such demonic men who have no relationship with God, gradually become puffed up by material acquisitions and begin to challenge the authority of the Supreme Lord and torture those who are devotees of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj happened to be the son of Hiranyakashipu, and because the boy was a great devotee, his father tortured him to the best of his ability. In this extreme situation, the Lord assumed the incarnation of Narsimhadeva, and just to finish the enemy of the demigods, the Lord killed Hiranyakashipu in a manner beyond the demon's imagination. Materialistic plans of godless demons are always frustrated by the all-powerful Lord. Om Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajat Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhuputam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to purify my heart. I am not at all qualified to be sitting here, but taking this opportunity to purify my heart and also learn from you all. Okay, so this canto is about the cosmic manifestations, and in this chapter it's about the scheduled incarnations with specific functions are mentioned. So we have heard about the different incarnations in the last 13 texts. So, we've mentioned incarnations like Varahadev, Kapila Matsya, Kurma, and many more. So these incarnations, various incarnations, appear in a systematic way. But their activities are different. So in each incarnation, the Lord performed different activities. So it's a bit like, every day we are doing the same things. So it might seem like we are doing the same things every single day. But every day is a different day. It turns out to be a different way, although the activities are the same. So the Lord incarnates, but his activities are different, but the Lord is the same. So all these incarnations, we might not know about all the Lord's incarnations in detail, but Lord Narsimhadeva, everyone knows. And we sing his prayers every day and regularly turn to him. So whenever we are in distress, we turn to Lord Narsimhadeva. So in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijami aham. So Krishna says, whenever there is decline in religious practice, he descends. So in this purport, we see that Srila Prabhupada says that although the Lord appears on schedule, he has no obligation to follow any schedules. He can appear according to his will. So why did the Lord appear in this verse? So in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranyaya sadhunam, it mentions who is a sadhu and who is a duskritam. So the Lord particularly descends to appease his unalloyed devotees and who are harassed by the demonic people. Now we all know the story of Prahlad Maharaj and Narsimhadeva, but it's nice to repeat it again. So in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.46, Lord Brahma actually says to Narada Muni, so I'll just read that. O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matter accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. So when we also repeat these pastimes, although we might know them, it purifies us. So it's good to repeat them. So Prahlad was the saintly son of the demon Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu wanted to be the most powerful and live forever. So he wanted that power. So let's take a step back and think about who Hiranyakashipu was. So we all know that there were two personalities, Jai and Vijay, who were guarding, in Vaikuntha. And, one day the four Kumaras came and they refused them entry, and we know that they got cursed. And these Jay and Vijay, they had to take birth 3 times as demons. So here they were Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. So we've just seen in the text before about Varahadev, where Hiranyaksh was killed by the Lord in his form as Varahadev. So Hiranyakashipu, his brother, was really, really angry at the Lord for killing his brother, and he regarded the Lord as his enemy. So he really wanted to become powerful so that he could defeat even the Lord and be more powerful than the Lord. So in the Narada Purana, before I go to that, so we see that Hiranyakashipu was very demonic. Now there is a story in the Narada Purana as well, that once the demigods had gone to Vaikuntha to ask the mercy of the Lord, but they were stopped by going inside by a personality called Sumukha. So they cursed him. And he also had to come down to this material world. So this personality is actually Prahlad Maharaj, who came back to this world. So we see that both Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, they were both cursed to come to this material world. And yet we see that Hiranyakashipu has these demonic tendencies and Prahlad has divine tendencies. So why might that be? Why might one have become the devotee of the Lord and one the enemy of the Lord? So we'll go through 2 reasons. So the first one is association and mercy. So if we go back to the Prahlad Maharaj in Hiranyakashipu's story, once Hiranyakashipu had gone away from his kingdom to perform austerities, and he was in meditation because he wanted these benedictions, to become powerful. That is the way, if we want something material, we can go and do austerities, pray to demigods, and they might benedict us with some of those. So Hiranyakashipu had gone, but because of the austerities he was performing, the demigods were really, really fed up of him. And they took the opportunity while he was away to overcome his kingdom, and they decided to take away his wife Kayadu. But Narad Muni, being very merciful, he intervened and he took Kayadu to an ashram. Now, at that ashram, Kayadu got the association, and Narad Muni was preaching to her. So he was telling about the Srimad Bhagavatam and preaching about the Lord. Now, at that point, Kayadu was expecting a child. So Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of Kayadu, and he also listened to all the Krishna Katha. And we see that is why he became a devotee. So we see that association of saintly people and of devotees is so important, so that we can maintain these tendencies, these divine tendencies of becoming the devotee of the Lord. So, whenever we've got an opportunity, we should take advantage and, always be associating with other devotees and sannyasis and sadhus. Now, the second reason was, if we go back in time again, there was Brihaspati, who was the guru of the demigods. So once Hiranyakashipu again was in, I think it was in Mandrachal mountains, he was meditating, performing austerities again. And at that time, I've heard 1 parrot, sometimes I've heard 2 parrots. So I don't know how many parrots went there. But one of them was actually Brihaspati, who went there. And they were chanting the names of the Lord. so of Narayan. So Hiranyakashipu, because he regarded the Lord as his enemy, became very, very disturbed. So his meditation broke and he became very angry that who is this chanting the name of Narayan? So he wanted to kill the parrots, but the parrot flew away. So now his concentration was broken. So Hiranyakashipu decided to come back home. And he came back home and he said to his wife Kayadu that this is what happened. The parrot was chanting the name of the Lord, and that's why I've come back home. So, and then, Kayadu was serving him. And so at the time of Prahlad's conception, Kayadu just asked Hiranyakashipu, so what was this mantra that this parrot was chanting? And Hiranyakashipu started chanting the mantra, and he said he chanted Om Namo Narayan Namo. So that is another reason that, Prahlad is a devotee. So these samskaras that we have are very, very important. If we want children who have divine tendencies, who are devotees, these samskaras are really important. And we see that in our life, at every juncture, we have samskaras because these are imprints that are being created in our mind. So, these two things are really important, association and also samskaras. Now, coming back to the story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. So Hiranyakashipu, this time when he had gone away to perform austerities and meditate, he succeeded. And Lord Brahma was very happy with him. And he said, yes, what benedictions would you like? So Hiranyakashipu wanted to become immortal. So he said that I do not want to be killed and I want to be the most powerful. And Brahmaji said to him, well, I can't give you something even I don't have. I cannot be immortal, so I can't give you that. But and I can give you all the material benedictions. But Hiranyakashipu obviously wasn't happy, but he was very, very intelligent. So he thought that he would trick Brahmaji and trick the Lord. So we all know what he asked for. So he asked for, and in the text it said as well. So he asked for benedictions like, I should not be killed in the day, and I should not be killed at night. I should not be killed on land, and I should not be killed in air. I should not be killed outside or inside, nor by weapons. So he asked all these different, so he thought of all the different ways that he could be killed, and he asked for benediction so that he would not be killed. So, these, Srila Prabhupada talks about these tendencies, these demonic tendencies, where, we think that we can actually cheat the Lord. But the Lord is in our heart, as the Paramatma. He knows. And, Srila Prabhupada always says that these demonic tendencies, that we can cheat, are always frustrated because, the Lord is the most powerful. So my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he gives a really nice analogy to explain that even within us, we have both these tendencies, demonic and divine tendencies. And he gives the analogy of a dog. So whichever dog if you have two dogs and you just feed one dog and you don't give anything to the other dog, that dog that you feed will become more and more powerful, whereas the other dog that you're starving will become weaker and weaker and weaker. In that same way, if we feed the divine side, then that becomes stronger. But if we feed the demonic side in ourselves, then that becomes stronger. So how do we feed that divine side? Any ideas? What can we do to keep feeding that divine side? Excellent. Yes, association of devotees is really good. What else? Yes. Quality. Humility, cleanliness. Yeah. So, yes, thank you. Yes, so we can develop all these qualities. Mataji? Excellent. So we can engage in the 9 processes: chanting, hearing, reading, all these processes. So the more we do that, more we are feeding that divine side in within ourselves. So, and how do we feed the demonic side then? Yes, Prabhuji. Hmm. Thank you. Careful of. Yes. So magazines and materialistic things. Yes. Yes. Anything else? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Association that you should not have.
In chapter 16, there are 6 negative qualities also, and they are, for example, being arrogant,
Hmm.
and what are the other ones? Conceited. There are 6 demonic
Okay.
qualities.
6. Thank you.
In 16:4.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes. So we have, yes, so we have the, if we feed that, so, we, by thinking we are the doers, we are in charge, having an ego, having pride, having hatred, envy for other people, arrogance, like Prabhuji said. Yes, so, when, we have these tendencies, then the demonic side is fed. Greedy and angry. Thank you. So we see that Hiranyakashipu was certainly feeding the demonic tendencies, demonic side. And he had actually gone so far that he wanted to kill his own son. Sweet little Prahlad Maharaj, only 6 years old. How would he want to kill that little boy? But because he was so gone that he was just thinking of how to become more powerful, thinking of his hatred for Krishna. What was the fault of Prahlad Maharaj? He was just chanting Krishna's names and preaching. That's all he was doing, but he wanted to kill him. And he tried to kill him in different ways. He threw him in a pit of snakes. He tried to get him trampled under the elephants, threw him off a cliff. He asked his sister Holly, to sit with Prahlad in the fire. But Prahlad was abhayam, fearless, which is a divine quality. So he didn't fear. He wasn't bothered. He was just totally fearless. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai. So fearlessness is also a divine quality. So, what is fear then? Fear is an emotion, a response to something. So, what do we fear? What are our fears? Anyone? What do we fear? Death? Yes, that's the top one, isn't it? We fear to lose our life. Any other fears? Excellent. Anything that, that, we can't have sense. Lack of association, old age, loss of something, loss of our dear ones. So we all have these fears, from being fearful of a spider to being fearful of losing our life, and we have that fear. So, we go through 3 stages. First, we hanker for what we don't have. And then when we have something, we fear that we are going to lose it. And then when we lose it, we lament. So, we go through these cycles. But why? It's because of attachment. We have attachment because we are identifying with our body. That's why we don't want to lose our body. We don't want to lose our beloved, our property, finance, our items. If we even I'm talking about myself here, if you misplace your phone, you panic. Oh my God, what am I going to do with without my mobile phone? We are so addicted. So, we are actually attached to all these things, and, we want to feel so, happy. So in this material world, we either feel happy or we are fearful of something. So if we go back to the divine and demonic qualities, and as Prabhuji was mentioning, chapter 16, there is a description of 2 types of people. In the first verse, the first symptom of transcendental qualities actually is abhayam, fearlessness. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that for a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness, because for a sannyasi, he has to be alone. There is no guarantee of, how he's going to maintain himself. So he has to totally depend on the Lord. So he has to be fearless. He must have that conviction that Krishna will look after me and give me all protection that I will need. There is a poem by a great poet, Govinda Das, and Srila Prabhupada used to sing this poem. So, Bhajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Vrindare Durabha Manava Janama Satsanga Taro He Bhava Sindure. So this poet is also mentioning in the translation, O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which makes one fearless. So if we just worship, then, we become fearless. And we see that in the Ramayana as well. When Vibhishan fell out with his brother Ravana, he went to Ram. And Ram's party were like, oh no, we can't trust him, he's from the other side. And Lord Ram says that anyone who approaches him, he will accept. And, it doesn't matter who it is. But when the Lord says he accepts you, that means that he will look after you. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this again and again. You take shelter of me, be fearless. I will protect you. I will look after you. So here we can see that Prahlad Maharaj has taken full shelter of the Lord, and that's why he is fearless. No matter what his father did, Prahlad Maharaj was not agitated. He was totally fearless. Now, in this verse, there's a description of Lord Narsimhadeva. He was rolling his eyebrows in anger, showing his fearful teeth and mouth. That is fearful, isn't it? But Prahlad Maharaj was not scared. I used to teach in a school, and we used to sing the Narsimhadev prayer every day. And we had some little children as well, 4 years old. And I used to say to the teachers, so, we used to get the prayers from the internet, YouTube. And, if you look at those videos, it's really, really gory with Narsimhadev, performing surgery on Hiranyakashipu. So I used to tell the teachers, don't show the children the videos, just have the audio on and let them sing. But the children would say, no, we want to see the video. We want to watch the video. And we were like, but you'll be scared. No, we want to watch it. So we would say, okay, that's fine. And it was so strange that the children would not be scared. They would love the video. In fact, Narsimhadev was the favorite incarnation of the children at school. They absolutely loved Narsimhadev. And no matter how many times you told the story, they would still want to hear. And we were scared that the parents might complain if the children got frightened and had nightmares. But it never happened. So, Narsimhadev, because children are so simple, like Prahlad Maharaj, they just have full faith in the Lord, and, they love unconditionally. And, so they are not scared. Uh, However, even if we have fears, because it's, we, especially me, we are all working through this. So we do have fears, and, we are working on that total faith and dependence on the Lord. But, even in that case, we can pray to Lord Nrsimha, and which we do. We see that during COVID, we, at one point, nobody knew how to deal with COVID. And, people were fearful. There were loved ones who were losing their lives. And people were fearful. And what did we do? We took shelter. We were praying to Narsimhadev, the Narsimha Kavacha. We were chanting that. So we took shelter. So even that is fine, that we should take shelter. And Narsimhadev actually does reciprocate. Even to this day, we think, oh, well, that happened to Prahlad, it's not going to happen to us. But even to this day, he does reciprocate. So, His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, his brother Jananivas Prabhu, they have shared so many stories of how Narsimhadev has actually reciprocated with so many devotees. We're running out of time. I had a story about a little girl in South Africa, and maybe you all know that story, how Narsimhadev actually came and protected her. Does everyone know that story? No? Okay, if we might go slightly over time, but I will say that story. So there was a family in South Africa, so two parents and a little girl. Now, the little girl from young age, she also liked Narsimhadev. So, she had a picture of Narsimhadev, and she would pray to him every day. So one day she was playing outside in the garden, and she was playing with a ball. And it was like in the countryside, so there wasn't much traffic, and the parents were inside. And while she was playing, the ball rolled over onto the road. And in a split second, there was a lorry, was driving at speed and was coming at the girl. And the girl went into the road to get the ball. And the lorry was coming, and her father looked from inside, and he just saw that, and he thought, that's it, I'm going to lose my daughter. And imagine if a lorry is driving at such speed and a little child goes in front of it, there's no hope. So the little girl went flying and landed on the grass nearby. So the father quickly ran and, grabbed the girl. They took her to the hospital. They took her to A&E and said, this is what has happened. So the doctors started working on her, and they took her in. They were doing scans and x-rays and everything. So after a little while, the parents were so anxious, so they asked the doctor, how is my daughter doing? What's going on? So then the doctor said to the nurse, okay, can you bring the x-rays? Let's have a look how much damage there's been done. And the nurse brought the x-rays, and they put the x-ray up, and then the doctor was really confused. So he said to the nurse, can you bring the x-rays for this girl? And the nurse said, yes, these are the x-rays for this girl. And the doctor's like, no, they can't be. And she's like, no, they are. When he looked in the x-ray, everything was perfectly fine, not a fracture inside. So the doctors were like, what is going on here? So they went to the bedside, the parents also came, and when the doctors looked at the girl, on her body there were no other marks or no sign of injury, except for on her ribs here, she had some scratches. That was the only mark there. There was nothing else. And then the daughter who had, blacked out, she woke up and she said to her parents, "Where is he gone?" And they're like, "Who?" And she's like, "Where is Nashingadev gone?" And then they understood that actually, and she told the story that actually Nashingadev came, he picked me up and he put me on the grass. And that explained why she had some scratches on her near her ribs. And the girl was totally unharmed. And that just showed that the little girl had so much faith in Nashingadev, and he came to protect her. And this is a true story. Actually, the doctor who treated the girl, he actually became a devotee as well, because he saw the miracle and he became a devotee as well. So Nashingadev, and there are so many stories that he does still reciprocate, but we just need to have that faith and rely on him. And all of last week, we've been hearing about Srila Prabhupada as well, how he was so fearless. He went on the Jaladuta, and, he was so fearless. But, the Lord was always with him. And look how much Srila Prabhupada has achieved as well. So in some ways, the fear actually helps us to develop that faith, because we rely more and more on the Lord. And, because we realize more and more that actually we are not in control. The Lord is in control. So, this is a really wonderful story of Prahlad Maharaj and the wonderful appearance of the Lord as the Nashinga form. So we will stop here. Thank you all so much, and I would like to open it up. If you've had any reciprocation of heard of anything or any comments you would like to add. Yes, Prabhuji. Do we have a mic?
Hare Krishna. Just a very little story. This morning I was on my scooter as usual. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Get my scooter to come to temple, and I said my Narsimha prayer, which I always do when I set off, because you never know what's going to happen. And yeah, I got there was a Muslim gentleman. I stopped. There's a place where you can look out over the town. It's like a viewpoint, and he'd pulled his car in there, and I just pulled my scooter next to and I say, "Hey, good morning," and he was smoking a cigarette, and he said to me, "Why are you coming up to me? Why are you," being sort of like being in a bad mood. And I said, "Oh, okay, Hare Krishna," and I just set off again, on my scooter. And he then followed me for half an hour. He followed me for half an hour, and he was shouting things out the car window at me. And finally, he said, "I'm going to ram the car into you." And he said, and he counted down from 10 to
Oh my goodness.
10 to 1. Yeah, and he said the other thing he said was, it's just this. What this says in this passage here, what Srila Prabhupada's explanation, it seems to be sort of resonate, to be honest. He said to me, "Oh, how does it feel to be on that scooter?" I said, "I feel free." And he said, "Oh, it feels nice and warm in here." I said, "Well, I just thought to myself, yeah, well, Krishna's preparing a warm place for you, my friend."
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yes, and we do take shelter when all these things happen. We live in Kali Yuga, and all sorts of things come at us. You just reminded me of something, Prabhuji. I do the same when I leave home. I chant the Nashingadev prayer, but I was just remembering that once His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu was sharing that how is it that when we are going on a journey, when we set off, we sing Nashingadev prayers, we pray, please, please, please get us there safely. But when we get there, we don't think of Narsimhadev. We don't say the prayer when we actually get there to thank him that, thank you, you've actually brought me here. We always do it because we are fearful, will I get there safely? So we pray at that point. But when we get there, we forget, yeah, I'm okay. We forget about that. So that just reminded me of that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Anyone else? No?
It was the so Prahlad Maharaj, he had a good samskara prior to coming into to existence through his father, because his father had the association of Narad Muni. Because when he was chanting, doing his meditation, Narad Muni was close by, chanting mantra or something. So he got the association of Narad Muni. So we were talking about good association. And for him to get a good son, he had the mindset still in his mind, to conceive a good child. So talking about like a good association. Yeah, a good association with Narad Muni. So
Yes.
that's all I wanted.
Thank you. Yes, it's so important, good association. Thank you. Okay. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.